Hey, Ronnie Dale, Four Wheeling Australia. We're in Adelaide Hills. We're at Jacob Farm. Awesome four-wheel drive park. I've been taken for a spin around here in a pretty cool JK, which will be in a different modified episode. But in this episode, we have a Y62, and the owner is a patron on Patreon, supporting the channel. So, David, how are you, mate?
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Good to see you, and good to be near Adelaide.
Welcome to South Australia.
Yeah. Cool four-wheel drive park.
It is.
So you have a YouTube channel as well?
I do, Dash Off-Road.
We'll talk about that in Q&A a bit more. What is this vehicle set up for?
So this is primarily a touring vehicle, so I tow with a caravan quite often, but of course when you tow to a great four-wheel drive place, you want to go four-wheel driving. So it's kitted up for four-wheel driving, so it's a bit of a hybrid, I'd say.
Nice, so touring, play around.
Absolutely,
all kinds of stuff. Do you want to just give us the stats and specs on the vehicle?
Sure. So it's a 2014 Y62 Patrol. This is the STL model, so it's the baseline. They don't even make them anymore, so I call it limited edition. And it's got a 5.6 litre petrol V8, yes, petrol V8, and puts out about 300 kilowatts from the factory, and it's had a bit of tuning, so it probably does a bit more than that now.
Nice. Well, I think we waste no time, we'll get straight into it.
Let's get into it.
Bar work, bash plates, side rails, rear bars, winches. Let's start with the bar.
So this is the Predator bar, made from aluminium, so it's pretty light, which is good. Still bracketry around the winch, but then all the wings are aluminium. So yeah, just trying to keep the weight down.
What does it weigh?
45 kilos.
Ooh, pretty light.
Yeah.
I saw your install video on YouTube, so if you have a Y62, you want to know about this bar, check out Dash Off-Road for that one. The reason why I changed it, because you had a different one before. Yeah,
I had a hoop bar, which is great. If you want to hit something, I guess it's nice to have a bit more protection. But after my, 20 years of four-wheel driving, I've never hit anything.
Really?
No. Maybe it's a South Australian thing, but I haven't. So I've put this one on just to get it a bit lighter. And I reckon it looks pretty tough too.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool, yeah.
Bit of a different look.
Winch?
Yeah, so that's the carbon winch. That's my second winch actually. Again, motivation to get a lighter winch. This is a 9,500 pound, and I wish that I got the 12,000 pound, to be honest, because it's a really heavy car, and pretty much almost all the time I have to double it up when I use it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll get the same with mine pretty much, but
yeah,
less stress on the winch anyway if you double line it.
True. I have raced them, and this is slightly faster than a 12,000 pound winch.
How many metres of spool on this one?
30 metres of rope, and that gets you most places, I think.
Okay, so you've probably got about 5 metres less than most, I guess?
I don't know, not sure.
Yeah,
but yeah,
30, 35s generally, yeah.
Get the strap out if I need it.
This came with a bar, this bash plate?
Yeah, this one comes with a bar, and then it's just a factory bash plate underneath that. And at the moment, the factory tow hitch, it's debatable whether you're supposed to snatch off it or not, but the manual says
a gentle pull maybe.
You can flat tow off of it, so you just got to keep it in mind.
It is interesting though, they put it right in the middle, which is actually a really good idea, and it does look pretty strong, but you probably shouldn't snatch off it. So you got a plan for recovery points? There's
a few types. There's a road safe or an on-track recovery point. So there's a few. Like years ago, Y62s you couldn't get anything for. Now they've been around for a few years, and there's options now. You can get pretty much whatever you want. So when I get around to it, I'll be getting the one of those, probably the on-track ones, which come out nice and flat.
Big O 4x4.
Yeah, so this is my second set of sliders. The first ones were really heavy, so I've changed to these. This is a prototype actually. First one's ever Big O 4x4 made. And
for the Y62?
Yeah, for the Y62. They make heaps of other stuff, but these were fabricated, CAD drawn, and they're just a little bit lighter because they're made of tube steel opposed to sort of seam steel.
Okay.
And I've tested them, they definitely work.
So you had it on it?
Yeah, I've had it seesawing a few times. Yeah.
Triple mounts, nice and light.
Yeah, they look good, they don't look too...
Why is this bit coming out here more on the back? Is that for kids to get in and out, or?
Playing around with the design, so to have a step out of it. So it tends to kick Like if you're right up against the slider on the front and then you get to here, it actually
Push it
kicks
back
you
out.
away from it. At the start I was dubious about, but now I actually quite like it because it looks different to all the other sliders out there.
The rear bar, and that Kmart actually do a bar for the Y62.
They got on board really early, thank goodness, because the factory bar on these looks like a marshmallow and it comes down to about here.
Marshmallow.
So I lost it the first time I came here to Jacob Farm. It just got hooked up and works like a snowplow basically.
Oh, so the departure angle is pretty bad with the normal one.
Yeah, and it scoops up anything that's underneath. So that was one of the first things to go.
So how much does this weigh? Because I know you're weight conscious, you know the weight of everything.
I do. Just talking about the bar replacement only, that's 100 kilos.
How much do you take off from the factory?
Oh, about 20.
Okay, so you're adding 80 kilos
Plus 50 for the wheel.
on the back.
So there's 150. So if you had a second wheel carrier, that's be 200 kilo rear. If you
Normally sits under here.
Yeah, a 35 won't sit under there anymore.
Oh, you got 35s?
Yeah.
We'll get onto that. That's cool.
The factory camera is there. Well, sorry, it was here, so I was just looking at the tyre. So I've relocated the camera to an infrared one on the bar
Oh, nice.
and put a second camera looking down on the toe ball as well.
So you're still using the factory harness camera to look down, and this is the extra one you
Yes.
added then?
Yeah, well, I tapped in and I relocated the camera to this side and it looks down. I've got a switch on the dash which goes between them.
Awesome. Any plans to use this one?
I'm conscious about weight, so maybe for some jerry cans, but probably not. It's just another thing to open when you want to go get a beer.
Solar?
That,
Or trailer power?
Yeah, that just goes to the caravan, and then that's for the camera on the back of the caravan. And this, I don't know why, Kmart mounted this down here. First time you go full driving, it gets smashed off.
It's actually a problem with a lot of rear bars and a lot of vehicles. You get these full drive shops, they mount stuff underneath, and that's what gets hit first.
Yeah. So now it's tucked up out the way.
This is just to have it here? Because you obviously recover off that?
Yeah, I've never recovered from the little points, but usually when I need a shackle, the car is looking like this. So having somewhere to easily access,
Fair enough.
I just have them hanging off the back.
Okay. And you still got your reversing sensors?
Yes.
Was
they're
there front
still
sensors on the front bar?
there is on the Patrol, but I haven't put them on this bar yet.
Okay, but you are going to?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know if I like the look of them.
What is that?
You ever seen them before?
Is that for an airbag?
Yeah, so I recently went full driving and I split the airbags on the back. So I needed a way to start monitoring them. And these are like $5 off eBay. And you know, if it's red, it's flat. If it's green, it's good.
Oh, really?
But I am going to change to the pneumatic ones where you've got a button that pumps them up and down with a gauge because it's not accurate enough for my liking.
That thing up there, roof rack.
So I love my roof rack and I hate my roof rack.
Okay.
It's now you can buy all sorts of roof racks, you know, from shops all over the place. But when I bought the car, that was one of the first things I did, and there wasn't anything available that suited. You'd either get one that was too short and it looked silly on this size vehicle, or you'd get one off of a van and they hung out really wide, which is no good for four-wheel driving. So I designed this one to sit in as tight as possible. It's all made out of steel, and that's the bit I dislike about it because it is heavy.
How heavy?
I haven't weighed it, but it took 3 of us to get up there
Oh, okay.
on our tippy toes.
Yeah, it is awkward though,
Yeah.
where it is in height, but what do you reckon, like 80 kilos, 60?
Yeah, it would be over 50, I think. It's got a 160 watt solar panel, flush mounted in, so I can still put stuff on my roof.
Ooh.
And
That is a huge panel.
yeah, I won't damage it. The idea of the panel is the more panels I have, the less batteries I have to carry. So I invested in weight in the panel opposed to the battery. But I'm going to modify this again because I want it curved at the front for a curved light bar. And I think I will I can't put an awning on at the moment, so I need to do some modifying for an awning and a shovel holder, that sort of
Oh
thing.
yeah, there is no awning. There is one tread here.
There is a story to that.
The other one broke?
The other one is down on the beach port and in the sand on its way to China. I just couldn't find it.
Oh wow.
That actually belonged to someone else, and I had to buy the pair off of him
Oh
because
no.
I borrowed them to get out of a bog.
Okay, and it's the same colour as the bloody beach?
Yes. Pro tip, don't buy a tread the same colour as sand if you live in South Australia.
I reckon your mate should have coughed up that one. High lift jack. You can lift the car from the side steps
Yes.
and the back,
Not the front.
not the front.
But you can lift off of these no problems at all.
Lights and comms. I'm going to change it up. We're going to start with comms. One radio,
Yes.
one antenna.
Yes.
Music radio antenna, where's that?
Somewhere in this vehicle, not on the outside.
Okay.
I don't know where it is.
So, that's interesting.
It works.
So it must use the body of the car, maybe.
I think it's, if I had to guess, I reckon it's probably in the rear glass, built into the rear glass of the tailgate.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, enough about the radio. The CV radio.
Nice and tall.
On your previous bar, was it here?
It was.
Okay, so you know the difference now.
I can get a bit further now, especially when I used to have a problem. I'm trying to remember, I could get further forwards than backwards or the other way around, but now I seem to be quite even with the distance that I can transmit and receive with on the roof.
Have you hit trees?
Yeah, this week.
That's all right. You got a spring on it.
Yeah.
And it's quite flexible.
That's why I didn't get the fiberglass one, because I tend to hit stuff.
What do you do about drive-throughs?
About what?
Drive-throughs, Macca's.
Oh yeah, on the way here.
McDonald's, Hungry Jack's, KFC.
On the way here I had to park and go in.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that does get in the way.
I had to think about that. So I've got a mini aerial that I can put on it, and that shaves a fair bit off.
What's the DB on that one?
6.5.
Lights.
Mm-hmm.
These are LED, which spoke off camera. You used to have HID.
I did.
So I would like to ask the question, now you have LED, do you still get okay distance, or you prefer HID for distance?
I think my vision's pretty good, but these can light up the road as far as I can see, and that's good enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
I had HIDs on here before, which I don't even think would fit because the ballast was built in. So on this type of bar, you know, you've got to have halogen or LED. But I found the 100 watt HIDs I had were so white on the road that it made everything outside the road darker and less contrast. And I ended up using my light bar, which is my go-to more often than not. I just didn't use the HIDs. And then I did some testing when I bought these, and I installed one HID on one side and LED on the other, and the LED put out more, well, the same sort of distance, but it had the width. And then I put my light bar on, and the one Nava LED spotty put out more light, like everywhere, than when you compared it to the HID and the light bar together. So yeah, they're not cheap, but I think it's worth investing in a decent light.
What HIDs did you have on before?
I couldn't remember the name. They weren't expensive though.
Okay.
So that's relative.
So
These are expensive, they weren't. So it's not a
If
fair...
you get expensive HID, might be a different story.
Yeah, it's not a fair comparison.
Light bar on the roof. It looks really close to the roof.
It's very close to the roof. I think you can blame the roof rack designer for that.
How many watts? And you got pencil middle, spread sides.
And they all seem to do the same. It's really close to your line of vision. So if you've got an animal's eyes reflecting off the road, you'll pick it up quicker when the light bar is, they call it coaxial, with your close to your eyes, opposed to when you've got a light down here.
Okay, never heard that one before. Yeah.
But in rain, they're awful. So
yeah,
when the rain...
it looks like you hit warp drive or something.
Yeah, hyperdrive.
Hyperdrive, yeah.
So I've got two buttons and I flick them on and off as I choose. I'm a fan of these ones at the moment.
The work light?
Yep.
Is that the only light in the back?
Yeah, that's bright. That's plenty.
And that's where you use the camp, work in your vehicle, whatever.
It's telescopic as well, so it goes up 3 lengths.
And you can turn it 360?
Yeah. Modern car like a Patrol, they only come out with halogen lights. I've upgraded these to LEDs. They are so much, they're brighter, but they're a better colour temperature. So I've really liked them. And then yeah, LEDs down here. Daytime lights, the red lights are not really for road use, but so I turn them off on the road.
Okay.
But it makes good videos.
You replace the back lights?
They've got the Nismo UAE lights, just they look a bit cooler, so I've got the smoked version of them, and I've upgraded the globes to the LEDs in them as well. So
nice.
Really bright reverse lights.
Suspension and tyres. Off camera, you mentioned this is the second set of suspension on this vehicle. The vehicle's 2014. It is 2018.
Yeah.
Towards the end. Why did you change it?
The first set of suspension I got lasted 30,000 Ks, and it was good, but I got the suspension first because I wanted to lift my vehicle, but then I added everything onto it, and so it just wasn't fit for purpose anymore. And one trip was a 1,000k trip with sand dunes the whole way through Wiperfield, killed the suspension, and it was to the point where it was unsafe to drive anymore. I invested in getting an engineer to design the next suspension, and the specs that this has come out at comes off the armoured vehicles from the UK. It's not an off-the-shelf spring or spring rate, what they make for armoured vehicles now.
Wow.
So it's quite
expensive?
Yes. Well, the parts wasn't, but the engineering was.
Okay.
So it's done all the lane departure tests and all that
What
sort of
was
stuff.
it before? What did you have before?
Ironman, and
Okay.
they got 3 sort of levels of suspension. Well, back then they only had 2, and I got the best that they had. Now they've got a better one again. But you've just got to
Obviously
get...
worked out there was an issue with the other one.
Well, you just got to... I think if you lifted it and didn't bolt on bars and all around, you'd be
okay.
fine.
So for a stock vehicle, not carrying weight.
Yeah. But as soon as you can get these to GVM pretty quickly once you put all the bar work on.
So you got GVM on this?
Yeah, it's the first GVM upgrade in Australia, I believe.
On a Y62?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's only up to the axle group mass, but that's kind of all I needed to get me there. So I've got the Tough Dog adjustable suspensions, the 43mm bore shock, and it's probably just a little bit over a 2-inch lift, but I can wind it up and down. But I must admit,
A little bit over, like 2.25, 2.5?
yeah, it's about 2.5 at the front and maybe closer to 3 on the back. Sits nose down a little bit, but when I tow, it's perfect.
CV angles, front, rear, all good?
I haven't had any issue at all. So there's 95,000 Ks on the car now, and the first 30 were just a 2-inch lift, and now it's got a bit more, and I haven't had any issues at all.
Nice.
Some do, but I haven't.
Okay. Airbags?
Airbags at the back, and
They're inside the coil.
correct.
Now onto your tyres and rims. Let's start with the big donuts. Now these are 35s.
Yeah, or to be exact, so Y62's come out with a 32.6-inch tyre, and so you can go up 2 inches in South Australia, and these are 34.6 inches. So they're bees whisker off 35.
Okay, but we'll just call them 35.
Yeah.
315 70 R17, so you got a 17-inch rim, which means you still have plenty of sidewall.
The factory ones are 18-inch rims, and the 17s just squeeze on, and you've got to move the offset out a little bit.
Well, offset is on a rim, just a positive.
25. Still rim.
These are the aggressive all-terrains.
The ATZ P3s.
How many Ks?
I swap between tyres. I wouldn't know exactly, but I'm happy with how they're wearing, put it that way.
The back wearing quicker because you're towing and stuff?
Yeah, they do. And I rotate them and swap them around. Initially I had some camber issues when I lifted it, and now I've got a camber correction bush, and that's fixed. The spare's a little bit more worn than the others.
All right, got a few dents here.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure who did them actually. Could have been me, it could have been the missus. We'll leave it there.
I get what he's angling at. Being a bit careful, mate. So 35s on this vehicle, you can do that with a 2.5-inch lift. Was it camber or caster correction bushes?
On the back, yeah.
On the back, all right. And a 25 positive rim. You can fit a 35 on this without putting another flare on.
Yeah, no flares. Actually, you don't even have to lift it and you can fit a 35.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
That was the motivation when I was shopping for a car. That's why I looked at the Y62, because I knew that.
Okay. A lot of people don't like these cars because they're petrol and they have independent rear, but you've had no problem with it. You can fit 35s on it, and these are one of the best motors to tune, so I've heard.
Yeah, they respond well.
V8 petrol,
5.6.
one of the best engines to tune, so I've been told. You on the Uni-chip?
Did the Uni-chip with the 5 map selector, so I can run 91 octane or I can run 98, and I can change it on my phone for the map. And there's a full driving map which changes the throttle position, and there's one for towing, and then there's the base standard Nissan map in there as well. So that's pretty cool.
All right, do you run a scan gauge inside the car?
Yeah, not a scan gauge, but one that I
MOD
can
sensor.
Yeah, look on my phone.
Cool.
And reset codes and look at codes if needs be.
All right, we'll get to that in there. Batteries, that's the factory.
Yeah, factory location, second battery, but auxiliary battery on the other side. But when I changed the factory battery, I got them to match the charging voltage, so I can charge both with the solar panel at 14.9 volts opposed to just the alternator at 14.4.
This is your charging system here?
Yeah, that's the solar controller.
PV charger. So that's just a solar. Do you have a DC or BC
No.
DC or anything?
I've got a smart charger, so this has got a smart alternator, so you need to disable that. And there's a red wire in here somewhere that you cut to disable the smart charger, otherwise you just can't run a second battery. The alternator just turns it back down to 12.5 volts. And so I use a solenoid, a red arc smart solenoid, which I reckon if I did it again I'd put a DC charger in, but this is just the way it works, and I've set it up so I can isolate it. I can isolate that battery when I want to.
So you isolated it and you cut the wire, which we don't know which one it is, but
Yeah.
you cut a wire in there.
There's a red wire in here.
Okay.
Or there's an easier way, you can disconnect the shunt off the positive and that does it as well. But I didn't know that 4 years ago. That was a recent Y62 development. So the shunt, that's how the engine management system measures how much current the battery needs to charge. Just disconnect the shunt.
The winch has a breather.
Yeah, for the gearbox. So you can
Nice.
service the winch. It's a little surprise. I'm trying to decide whether I like the orange or not, but
Well, gets pointed out, doesn't it?
it does.
Your other breathers, they're factory.
Yeah, they're up tucked out of the way, so there's not really an aftermarket kit because you don't really need one.
You have a compressor here, which, does this run just for airing up?
ARB compressor, just tucked in nice, neat out of the way, hardwired, so I can turn it on from here. Just saves me getting something out and putting it on the battery.
Any reason for a switch over there, not here?
No.
Space?
Yeah,
Just way easier, convenient?
convenience.
Fair enough. Air filter, factory?
Correct. Probably do a snorkel sometime.
Yeah, you don't have a snorkel yet?
I'll get a steel one made, I think, that will come out the side there. Knowing that I was going to put a lot of lights and things in this car and switches on the dash, I didn't want to have, you know, a spaghetti wire on the battery. So early on I ran a lead from the main battery and the auxiliary battery to a Nava fuse block. And so that sits in the location, you know, out of dust. And so that's where everything powers from, you know, nice and neat out of the way over here.
All right, so you can actually fit a fuse box in the factory fuse box.
A little bit of modification, but yeah.
Now onto the back of the vehicle. Apologies for the wind, it's pretty windy here, we're in a wind tunnel. Something you just showed me was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if you don't shut the door properly.
If, you know, kids or someone that's getting to the back of your car, if they don't shut it properly, this will always suck it in, it'll always shut, it'll always turn the light off.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Let's have a look.
Let's pull it up.
You use all 7 seats? A 7-seater?
Yeah, good for wine tours or school friends. But you can,
Wine tours.
yeah, you just got to talk someone into driving, but you can fit, you know, 7 people seated comfortably in the car and have a fridge and have a set of drawers, and there's still room for the dog to go on top. It's a lot of space in there.
Oh, you got a dog as well?
Yeah.
Cool. So the dog fits in. 2 kids you have?
I've got 2.
Yourself, the missus, so 4 people, 4 occupants, a dog, and you still got cargo space. You got a lot of cargo in here.
It's huge.
How deep's this drawer?
900mm drawer. Rocking the Titan.
Cool.
It'd be nice if it actually came out further, actually.
Yeah. That's how they can hold an engine block on it, right?
That's it.
They can't actually pull it all the way out.
So there's a bit of space in front of it, and the idea is to either get a travel buddy or maybe I think about a lithium battery setup. But so I purposely got the 900mm one, so there was a bit of room to do some more things at the back.
Pre-planning, pre-thinking. All tools, I take it?
Yep. Yeah. I purposely keep my recovery gear actually in front of it so I can get to it from one of the doors, because every time I'm stuck and need recovery gear, the back of my car is usually in a difficult place to get.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. There's your swag, which, that's a long swag.
Yeah, it's the
That is a swag, yeah?
yeah, it's a, what do they call it? King or queen? You got a choice in this vehicle. You can actually put it on the back seat and you can still shut both doors, or you can put it long ways in. They're very wide. Show me another car that you can put a king size swag on the back seat and shut the door.
Definitely not in a 70. I can't even fit my ARB swag across the back, and that's smaller than that. Which is why. does look like a limo in there, eh? It actually does look like a limo.
I'm not driving you around though.
Fridge?
Yes, it tucks in nicely behind the third row, 50 litre fridge. So there's not many.
Evercool. I've had bad experiences with Evercool fridges. What's this one like?
This is my second one. The other one's still going. I think the other one's like 7 or 8 years old. I like this one. I don't like the fiberglass ones.
Yeah, it's the fiberglass ones that.
Yeah.
Do you find that the taper of the basket, is that a bit annoying?
My first one tapered. This one doesn't.
Oh, this one doesn't?
No. But
Okay.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, they must have fixed that.
G50, that means it's 50 litres, yeah?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, runs on 240 or 12. The one thing I like is the cheap fridge, but if the voltage drops too low, it will turn itself onto limp mode, whereas a angle will just kill your battery.
Oh, you can set them.
Oh, you can?
You can set them, yeah.
Okay.
Interior time. This is one really clean interior, and I know you do a lot of off-roading, so I'm actually surprised to see there's not stuff everywhere. The space in here is huge. I actually feel there's more space in this interior than there is in like those big American cars, like the Chevy that I shot not long ago. Look at this center console.
It's huge, and like when you put your arms down, it's not holding you in. It's like a lounge chair, basically.
How wide is this car?
It's 2 inches less than a Hummer.
Oh, really? That explains it.
Yeah.
This is a wide car.
It's wide.
Nice. So it feels pretty stable?
Yeah,
off-road?
it feels like a lounge chair on wheels. Like once the suspension's sorted out, mine's got the coil springs. The hydraulic model above mine is even better again.
Okay. iPad is here. Is that your nav? Because there's no nav here.
Correct. Yeah, I wanted to keep it as clean as possible because during the week I don't want stuff stuck everywhere. But when I do go away, I use memory maps, and my iPad just gets wedged in, and it actually stays there with four-wheel driving, so that works quite well.
So memory maps is your go-to?
Yeah, and it uses all the HEMA maps. Lots of switches, some of them labelled, some of them not labelled. I know what they all are.
So that's a voltmeter.
That's because, yeah, so this cigarette lighter goes to the auxiliary battery, and then the one in here goes to the starting battery.
So you could actually do this?
Yeah, you can just swap it across as need, and it doesn't look too clunky.
Cool. You're down to 11.1. Oh, 12.1, sorry.
Got my foot on the brake. There.
Ah, righto. So rear lights, LED light bar, winch in and out.
Yep.
Auxiliary battery. So this is when you got a flat battery?
So as soon as it gets above 12.5 volts, both batteries, that light will come on blue. And then if I've got a flat battery, I can jump it across like that.
Oh yeah, I've just seen that change. Yep.
And then this one that's switching the earth on the smart solenoid. So if I want to isolate the batteries permanently, because at the moment if I have it like that, they're connected no matter what I do. But if I want to isolate them, I can do that. And now they're permanently isolated. So
in a camping situation like tonight, you play your music, flatten one battery, but it doesn't matter because you got that, so you only flatten one. Next morning you can click that, you can start it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There's more buttons over here that you can't see.
So it's like a 200, don't need a key, you just push start.
And when you walk up to the car, the proximity lights, just sort of ambience comes on.
Fancy.
I'm going to hook that up to the red halos on the bar too. So when you walk up to the car, the red halos will light up. And when you walk away, they'll dim. Not my idea, someone else's.
Switches on that side?
So this side, I've got the red halos switch, and then I've got a diff lock switch. So it's an extra one. There is a diff lock in the center here with the traction control, but you can only turn it on here in low range under 7 kilometers an hour, and when you go over 15 kilometers an hour, the diff lock disengages.
Deactivates. Okay.
So the switch over here goes directly to the diff lock solenoid.
Overriding.
And I can put it on or off whenever I want.
Even in two-wheel drive?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's, and then there's a Red Arc Tow Pro Elite on this side as well.
Factory locker on these, do you know if it's mechanical or electromagnetic?
Well, it's got a solenoid, so it must be electromagnetic, I'm guessing.
Have you used all these functions in here? Like, obviously not snow. Well, you might have. You might have gone to Vic.
Not in South Australia. There's no snow here. But yeah, there's
sand rock.
You think there's only 4 buttons there, but there's 13 combinations that those 4 buttons can do to the car's throttle position, the way the traction control works. There's different strategies for high and low, and each of these buttons. And then it changes all again when you press the locker button. So this, by turning the locker on, it can change what the ABS does too. It's really complicated. It's another half-an-hour video.
So you play with it and you just suss it out.
Yeah. In the glove box, I've got a sheet that describes what all the buttons do.
Oh, really?
And each strategy, because I can't remember.
Okay.
So every time we go full driving with the Y62 clubs, we get to a beer and around the campfire and someone says, why didn't my wheels, my traction control work then? The sheet comes out and we can work it out.
Awesome.
So it's very complicated, but it works.
Sunglasses.
Yeah.
There are sunglasses in there. Every time I do that, there's never sunglasses in there. No plastic spiders hidden up here.
No plastic spiders, and I've changed everything to LEDs throughout. So there's a lot of interior lights in this car, but and there's even a little one that shines down, so you can, look at your drink or your keys or whatever it is.
Oh, cool. How much room we got in the back, Wayne?
Oh, mate, heaps. It's already laid down here. Don't need a swag.
It's been done before.
It's like a limo, eh?
It's massive,
Heaps of room. And there's still 2 seats behind you.
And each row is air conditioned. There's a separate air conditioner down here, all the controls.
Reversing camera. Now, you had 2 cameras.
At the back, yeah.
And you can switch between them here.
So I put a camera control unit in so I can toggle between, because when you have the one on the Kmart bar, you can't see the ball anymore when you're hooking the caravan up. So I needed to fix it. So another camera with a toggle.
Show us how.
Yep. Put it in reverse. So that's looking at the camera on the Kmart bar, and I can click this little toggle to the left, and that will show me down on the tow ball.
Do it again.
If my tow ball was there. Looking back and looking down.
Cool.
And there's 2 channels, so I can put another 2 cameras in as I choose to. I'm thinking about having one forwards, so when I'm full driving and I can't see where the track's going, I can just put the front camera on and see what's happening there.
Or you could go one step further, one on each wheel.
I could do that. And I've got another monitor up here, so I could actually have extra cameras up here too. So this is designed for the caravan, and there's 2 channels there too. Awesome, but it's not connected.
Q&A. Our first topic about this vehicle is going to be about watching the weight. Bit of Jenny Craig captain here.
Yeah.
Now these are definitely not low-fat beers.
Actually, mine is.
Oh, he is really conscious of weight. This one definitely isn't. Maybe give us some tips on how to reduce weight in your vehicle, like how your thought process goes on it, because I've been going through the exact same thing, and it's a battle, but I'm starting to get on top of it. So give us your tips.
I've hashtagged myself don't do what Dave did, because I tend to buy everything twice, and now every time I put something on this car I'm very conscious of what it weighs and is there a lighter version of it. Because if you just blindly go out and put rear bar, side steps, front bar, winch, battery, roof rack,
Before you know it.
and you actually put people in your car, you're over your 3.5 ton GVM. So taking any weight out of your car, or anything you buy, if you can get it a little bit lighter, it's worth investigating or asking, is there a lighter option for sure. But like taking under the drawer at the back, there's a seat that weighed like 20 kilos. So almost by taking the seat out and putting the drawer back in, I'm still neutral. So there's ways that you can pull weight out of a car if you want to.
Anything else you are going to do weight-wise? I know the roof rack you're talking about.
Yep, roof rack, battery system. So I've got a 55 amp hour Optima battery under the bonnet. And when I weigh the front of the car, it's very close to its front axle limit of 1650 kilos. So I'd like, and whereas the rear axle I think is 2050 kilos. So anything I can take out of the engine bay and move backwards is going to be helpful too. So I'll be pulling the Optima battery out and putting a lithium setup in the back and over the axle, which is probably the best weight for a battery, best place anyway. So that'll happen. Yeah, roof rack. Does superchargers help weight? I'm not sure.
Well, a bit of weight, but that's worthy weight to put on. So you got a supercharger coming.
It's on the wish list with everything else.
How many litres per 100 not towing?
I'll answer that by saying if everyone gave me $1 that asked me that question, I would never have to worry about the price of fuel again. But it's like coming up here today, it was about 17.5 litres per 100 with the 35s on. Probably shave a couple off of that without the 35s.
Mm-hmm.
And then with petrols, it's really about wind more than it is weight. So with the Caravan on a good day I can be 25, on a bad day I can be 32. It just depends what's happening. And my Caravan's quite tall as well, so it's more about wind than anything.
If I had a Y62 and I came to you and I said, what is the first thing I should do to this car? If I want to do what you're doing.
I always think, the best mods you can ever do for driving is a winch, tyres and probably a bit of lift. But if you're going to be towing a Caravan as well, you'd probably get airbags on the back because they will sag on the back unless you have something to help them a bit. Being independent, they probably suffer more.
We've just spoken about essential mods and that's what you recommend for this vehicle as stock. That tells me that the vehicle's all round are pretty good and you just want to put the general stuff on it because that is general stuff. But what are your top 3 favourite mods on this vehicle that you have done? Not necessarily essential, but top 3 favourite.
Yeah. Like, because I love the look of the car, aesthetics, the tyres look killer. 35-inch tyres just make any car look better. So yeah, tyres, I love the bar work. I like the black on silver. It gives or black on grey gives a real tough sort of look. So that'd be definitely there. And I love electrical things. So it was always going to have a solar panel and battery as well. Because, I like the idea of my fridge runs indefinitely. I never have to actually start my car and it will still keep running.
What are some of the concerns about this vehicle that are easy fixes or maybe need a bit more attention to?
There's probably a couple. The first one I'd say is being independent suspension or independent rear suspension. The way you load your car heavily affects your wheel alignment. So if you're changing the weight of your car from the weekend to during the week, you'll find that you'll end up scrubbing tyres or towing because it's changing. Yeah, you've got to keep it dead level, otherwise you're going to start scrubbing tyres. That's why having an adjustable suspension like airbags is perfect for a Y62. Because on the weekend when you throw the fridge in full of food and your camping gear, you just air up a bit at the back and then during the week you can have it back down. It means your car stays the same height. If you didn't have airbags, it would change heights and you would start scrubbing. The other one is about 100,000 Ks, these seem to have issues with catalytic converters. It's not that big a problem, but you need to get one of those scan gauge or something like that so you can have a look and erase it. I think it's just the O2 sensors go. I'm not convinced that it's the CATs, but...
If you don't erase the code, does it go into limp mode?
No. I've never had this car in limp mode.
But you just have this annoying engine light on.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then obviously you want to know what it is, so scan gauge or an OBD sensor.
It's worth doing that.
All right, and that happens around 100,000 Ks you're saying?
Yeah, pretty reliably.
Okay. Anything else?
They're pretty bulletproof, these things. Anyone that's ever worked on them have been surprised how much wheel droop comes out of the back end, even though it's IRS. They've got big drive shafts, excellent cooling system. They're designed for, the Middle East where they drive at 200 Ks an hour through sand in 45-degree heat.
Well, the guys in the UAE, they absolutely love these cars.
They, plenty of power. I can't think of another car that can have 7 people in it and tow and have a fridge and drawers and go up any hill that you pointed at with 35s, bolt on from the factory.
That's a fair statement.
I'm a little bit passionate though.
Yeah. I think we can all tell that. Y62 Patrol Club owners, how many people?
There's 6,000 members to the Facebook forum.
Is it Australia only?
This one is there is an Aussie page. There's a few pages. There's a modified action one, but the Aussie page is the biggest, and then they've got a members club as well that you can be part of.
So that's the place to go to find out about this?
Yeah, any information you want, that's the place to go.
And of course your YouTube channel is solely based on travelling in this vehicle, modifying this vehicle, Y62. Am I correct?
There's over 100 videos on Y62s now. So YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you'll find David Dash or Dash Off Road.
Dash Off Road. Check him out. I just noticed you have a camera on the front of the car.
Yeah.
But it's not hooked up?
It is. There is a short in the wire, so I didn't show you that one.
Ah,
But
righto.
that's the idea, is when I'm looking up, I want to be able to look down at the track.
Fair enough.
It's a bit of a stealth camera there. So on YouTube, you basically have to stand for something. I stand for the Y62, which means I have to be against someone, which is Land Cruiser 200s.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense because that's what you compared his car to, right?
It is. So I do run a battle episode with a Land Cruiser owner.
Okay. Is he
and
driving a diesel or a petrol?
He's got a diesel 200 series. We have a very healthy amount of banter on both our channels, Australian 4x4 Adventure, and you'll see us doing dyno shootouts between the cars, sand drags, 0 to 100 drags, me towing a caravan versus a 200 not towing a caravan. Anything you want to see comparing a Y62 to a LC200, check out my channel.
There you go. What's the best thing about your vehicle and the worst thing?
298 best things. This comes factory with 298 kilowatt. Worst thing, I got to be honest, it does use bucket loads of fuel. But you're going to have ponies, you've got to feed them.
True, true. Best trip you've done in this vehicle?
My most recent one that I loved was into Victoria to Cobor State Forest. What a pretty place to go. That was with the Y62 Club, and just a gorgeous place to go full driving. Tough tracks too.
How do you like Jacob Farm? Because I know I looked at your GPS and you've done a lot of driving around here.
The fact that it's 45 minutes from the city, and it's
Adelaide City.
Adelaide City, and it's not a soft full driving place. You can
No, it isn't.
be as challenged as you wish, or you can take it easy too. So yeah, it's if you want to show off, make sure you got bar work. I put it that way.
I could tell. This is what Perth needs, like a Jacob Farm.
So close to the city.
Yeah. All right, David, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
And if you want to check out more on this vehicle, there is a web page for it, but you're going to find out more stuff over at
YouTube.
Dash Off Road.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Subscribe right here, and you can also subscribe to Dash Off Road up here and another video down here, and patreon.com/RonnieDale to support creation of content like this. Thanks for watching, and a big thanks to Jacob Farm for letting us use his land during the week.
Patreon, make sure you support your creators.
Cheers to that too.